Morning, everyone, and we'd like to call to order the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session. This is November the 6th, 2025. I have no notification of public comments this morning, so we'll move directly to the approval of the minutes for the October the 2nd work session. Your minutes are included on your iPad. Are there any corrections? Seeing none, those minutes will stand approved as presented, and we'll move directly into our department reports. First up, we have Public Works.
Jack is at a conference, a training this week. So first we've got Mr. Britt Dye that's going to give us an update on the water line.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe all of you got my email this morning. I try to email you every day to let you know what's going on around the city, but made a little bit more progress. Got out of some rock last night. If we can get out of more rock, the faster we're going to be able to move down Mulberry Avenue. And nobody will be any happier than I will be when we get off Mulberry Avenue. We can have both ends blocked, 9 trucks, people still come through there. It's just amazing to me. But we did get the valves replaced in the Baptist church. It's been leaking on College over here on West, and then valves in front of the office. It's been leaking, and they still got the street marked off that the city's working on, that we found that other void on the storm drains on Walnut Street where it comes down and hits College Street. So we're still working on Bellevue North, getting ready to start hooking up some services on Washington Street, and then a few more houses on Campbell Street. So once we get all that done, I know that we're going to be moving to Mulberry and concentrate more on that when it comes to service connections. Reason being is because some of that flowable field is kind of rough. You know, if you're coming toward town, before you get to the curve at the church, it's pretty rough, and we know it's rough, but we're going to have to mill that. And we got a meeting, like I said, with the state today, and I'm sure they're going to get on us about that, because they're pretty strict about how the flowable field and the bumps in the road are. So we're going to start on that. I hope maybe next week of milling a little bit of that, and might have to put some coal mix in the ditch, but other than that, we're moving on quite a bit. So.
Okay, thank you.
Jack, as far as a paving update, right now Lincoln Paving is working on 3rd Avenue. They are hoping to have it finished in 3 days, and they started on it yesterday, I believe. So they've notified everybody to move the cars off the street and park somewhere else. As far as that ton truck, I think most of y'all remember them talking about that. That's when they bought 2 of them. And this particular one had to have the entire fuel system replaced at 46,000 miles. He has checked into getting a new one at Wilson Motors, and they are on state contract. He's going to try to take the bed off of his and put it off the lemon and put it on that one to save some money. He emailed me this morning and said that Wilson Motors, he talked to them, and after they looked up the history of it, they will not take it for a trade-in. But he reached out to another auto dealer who said that the trucks could be sold as is for $8,000 and $5,000 without the bed. If they get it in good running condition, it could sell up for $18,000. Could, but to repair it's going to cost about $10,000. So we'll just have to see what all you all want to do about that, I guess. And I will forward y'all what he sent to me this morning. But I think Loretta does have it in the budget amendment that she's going to be presenting, and the cost that she has includes the lights and decals and radio and all that stuff.
Okay, do we want to discuss this? I mean, the will of the board at this time as far as the salvage, or are we just discussing the purchase of the new vehicle?
I'd like to go ahead and just get rid of the one that's in trouble. It sounds like pretty much a wash anyway. If we sell it or take the bed off of it, it's going to cost $10,000 to fix it. I'd like to sell it for $5,000, take the bed off, and move forward with the new one. We got to have it. We're pulling with a smaller truck than we should be that's tearing up the truck they got. So I'm for sell it and go get the new one,
Okay.
the way I feel.
Anybody
I know,
else?
really, yeah.
Do we have an offer for like the 5?
Well, he reached out to another auto dealer, so I'm assuming maybe he does.
You said they offered 8.
He said we could
Bid.
for sure get 5,000 with it stripped down.
And then, one other question, the radio and lights, if we're getting rid of the truck, does it currently have a radio and lights on it?
Yes, and that's stripped down. Jack said that, the guy that he spoke to, I don't know who it is, offered a minimum price of 5,000 with it stripped down. So that would be
Would
pulling the
we not be
radio.
able to use, and I know this is a question for Jack, would we not be able to use the existing equipment to equip
We
the new
possibly
truck
could.
versus?
Possibly could.
Probably the radio and lights, decals would have to
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
but anything other.
Just thinking, most of the time, I'm not sure what type of radios they have, but I know the radios that we bought were like anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a piece, and that, you save that.
You know, he said it was $3,500 for the transfer of the bed and lights and decals and everything, that's what he estimated.
So if we could salvage the lights and radio that's in the truck and we strip it down, that may
Mhm.
save on that too. So
Do you know if y'all ever do that?
Typically, yeah, we'll take, because they're an addition to the vehicle, so we just usually take those off.
So,
Okay, so we'll take up the purchase of the vehicle in the finance department. We'll notify Jack to go ahead and, if everybody's okay with that, we'll move that forward to Tuesday night to
Okay.
approve the sale, go ahead and sell that in a stripped down, condition.
they also had some, old impounded vehicles that weren't running. They sold for scrap on Gov Deals for $730.75 is what the city got. And Jack said that Chief Meany still had a few more that's, scrap that need to be sold. But these are not actually owned by the city, so they're just impounded. As far as his department update, the new Fuel Master system is up and running. They've got a few bugs to work out because the gates and the fuel system are not communicating, so they're having to leave one side of the gate open. But, they're working on that. He said it's working great. They can run reports instantly. They can see the fuel level. And he said that at the moment they are fully staffed.
That's great, that's good, always good news.
Yes.
Does anybody have any other questions on Public Works? Thank you, Debbie. Now we'll move to the Police Department. Chief Jennings?
Morning, Mayor and Board. First thing I'm gonna go over is, Police Department has gone over the, ordinance for alarm fees, and, we have rewritten it and hoping to make it better. We did take some things out of it. Do you have a copy?
I passed out the copy right here, so chapter 13.
One of the major things that we took out of it was, the old ordinance required every alarm owner to register with the city, and it cost, $1. We took that part out because it'd be really hard to monitor somebody who's, registering their alarms or not. Also, if it's an alarm, we're gonna respond no matter what. The biggest thing that we added in there, false alarms. After the third false alarm, it used to be a $25 fine. We raised that to $50 just across the board, and then after the 11th false alarm, we raised that to, we left it at 75. So, and the reason we brought this up was we've been responding to a lot of false alarms here lately within the community, mainly businesses. So we are asking to, update this, alarm ordinance.
I know sometimes with storms, it sets off, does that count as a false alarm?
That does not count.
Okay, good.
It does not count.
There's several exceptions, I believe.
Yes.
Within the ordinance, but the biggest thing is, one reason it was brought forward to start with years ago was we were responding to several alarms, and the business or the person knows that they had an alarm that was malfunctioning, and rather than getting it worked on, they just kept letting it go off. And it's also a matter of officer safety, because if you're responding to an alarm and you run over somebody, then the city's gonna be liable.
Right.
And that has happened. Not here, but other places.
Right.
Vinny, I think you said after the 11th, it goes to 75, isn't it on the 11th, false alarm? I believe it's on the 11th.
On the 11th?
Yes,
Where does it detail the exceptions? I don't see exceptions.
Look at,
Yes.
page two,
Um,
well, one, at the bottom of one, and then two, there's earthquake. and then
That's the
there's-
definition of false alarm,
I think it starts on page one at the bottom,
Yeah,
and then
number
goes to
four.
page two.
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
Mhm. Any questions?
Move forward.
Okay, so we move this forward, anybody okay with that, move forward to Tuesday night, or Wednesday night, I'm sorry.
The other thing, we have on there, and it's just for information now, we're also looking at permit fees. My team's been researching permit fees and, the application process, and we've been unable to find a permit ordinance to date, so we're looking at creating a permit ordinance, here in the near future, probably next time we come back. Then we have the Christmas parade, permit, which is December 6th. So that, we can get that, and it's been approved.
So we'll move that to Tuesday night. And, Chief, when you speak of permit fees, is this for events, permit fees, or just general permit fees, or?
It's for event permit fees. And what we're thinking, on that, every other major city or every city has, majority that we've looked at have permit fees. We're not looking at $100 or $200 or anything like that. It's just a base fee. But we also want to look at, giving the police department the authority to determine if police presence is needed. On the current process, there's a box you can check, that police presence not needed or needed. And the reason for that is we have a local race that's coming up. They checked, it's a 5K, they checked police presence not needed. Well, this race is running around the bypass, so definitely police are gonna be needed for safety reasons. So we need to be able to determine whether police presence is needed. Also, I know we're fully staffed at this time, but, when these events come up and we normally have to call people on their days off to come and work these events. So, depending on the size of the event and the number of people that we possibly have to call in on their off days, we're gonna request that the overtime be paid, for those officers, because it eats my overtime budget up. So that's where we're standing on that.
Chief, you might start chapter 8, 15801.
Thank you.
That's the regulations portion of roadblocks, parades, foot or bicycle races, assemblies, and other events.
Thank you. Any more questions on that? All right, police department update, I said we were fully staffed, we're down one. We had one officer resign, to go work for his father-in-law, and it wasn't anything to do with the department or the way we do business. He just got the opportunity to go and work for his father-in-law in law enforcement, so he took that opportunity, and we thanked him for his service. With that being said, we got interviews set up for this Friday, where we have had about 10 applications put in for that one position. I believe at least 5 of those are certified officers, so that's gonna give us the opportunity to hire someone that can go directly on the street, or depending on the candidate, they may have to go to school. Last Friday, we had 2 officers graduate from Blount County Training Academy, so they're back. They started last night on midnight shift, and they're doing good. So we're super excited, just one short at this time. The other thing I want to go over is animal control. Now that it's up under us, the police department, I give a little update. There were, for the last month, there were a total of 11 calls in the city. There was a total of 14 in the county. As of right now, there's a total of 48 animal dogs in the shelter, and we had 6 adoptions last month. We do transport, anytime we get an opportunity, we partner with Horse Plus in Hohenwald, Tennessee. They're an animal sanctuary down there, and anytime we get overcrowded, they will accept some of our animals. So we did transport 10 animals out yesterday, and we have next Wednesday we are scheduled to take out 13 more, and then 5 more on Thursday. So these animals are well taken care of, and we're getting them out. We've also, I know you've all seen about feral cats in the news, and we're come up with a plan to work with animal control and the community to assist in this issue, this problem. And some of the biggest things that we've come up with is education. Myself and Commander Rodriguez has been out in the community talking with people and that deal with these cats every day. So we're gonna get together and work with them. I think that's the best solution, because they do this on a daily basis. So we're gonna work with them and possibly come up with a trap and release program. So we think we have it under control. If we don't, we're gonna work hard to get it under control. So that's where we stand with animal control. And if there are any questions, that's my report.
Well, I appreciate you, the department, taking this over. I know it's been a task, and, you know, a lot of calls and complaints and everything that y'all had to deal with, but it's, you know, it's more organized now, and it's working so much better than it ever has right now. So I just appreciate you and your officers.
Thank you, and I'd also like to say that Commander Rodriguez has done an outstanding job leading up that department and taking it over. And never once have we been discouraged from the moment we were given this opportunity. And I think the biggest thing is that we're all dog lovers and animal lovers, so that works well. It works out well.
Any other questions for Chief? Thank you, sir.
Sorry, question. I know that there's running at large for dogs is also an issue, and if they're not fixed, it causes more of an issue. Are you guys, how has that been? Have you been getting calls? Have we been enforcing the running at large to cut it down, essentially?
We have, since the police department has taken over. You know, we're still are working with the county. So the way we were doing that, we have issued some citations. It's on a case-by-case basis. So with the police department taking it over, it gives us, well, it doesn't give us, more authority, but it just puts us in the mix, every time something like this happens. Because we've set up policy and procedures for the animal shelter, and they are to contact us anytime something like that happens, and let us know. So there have been some citations issued for running at large, and we'll continue to monitor that. And also, thanks to Sheriff Malone, we have been deputized, all our officers deputized out in the county. So if we need to respond out to the county when the county can't respond, we do have authority to go out there and investigate with animal control to take care of these issues. So it's one big effort, and it's working. We see results already, so we're just got to maintain the course.
Yeah, and I appreciate working with the community and some of the people that take TNR cats.
Yes.
And is there a plan to eventually get to the point where the shelter can house cats at some point, or is that?
That is the plan for the future, but until we can get a building that, that's stable to house cats and dogs together, we're gonna have to wait. So that's why we've taken the approach of educating the community and doing the trap and release. And we think that's the best solution for the immediate solution. So, but there are plans in the future. And that's one thing when we came up with our design for the employees, their uniforms, we put a dog and a cat on it. So it's not, in the future, we do plan to house cats and dogs.
That's domestic cats, right?
Yes, thank you, yeah, that is a good clarification. You will not
Yes.
take feral cats, you
Right.
cannot adopt out feral cats, yeah.
Right. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have the fire department, Chief Bergman.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First thing on the agenda, we're gonna talk a little bit about the new fire truck. A few months back, it was brought up about what stage we are in that truck, and there was some concerns thinking there was changes. But our next step is to get the bond for the loan for the truck. And I'm still waiting on the attorneys to get back with me in Nashville. They tell me it's normal because how busy they stay. And I just want to let everybody know there's no changes, no price changes, everything's the same. This is just going to be our next step in insuring our bond for the fire truck. Do you have any questions on the new fire truck? The dates are still the same, still looking at July 2028. And, of course, no cost increases or nothing like that. The next on the agenda is the apparatus updates. I know we've had some down apparatus in the past. But as of right now, our ladder truck is functioning 100%. We are running into a test period of 3 weeks of operating it every day to make sure it is, the issues have been resolved. And so far, we're pretty good. We got 1 more week of that. And that's when our engine 4 goes to Brindley Mountain to get the manifold rebuilt on it. It's been leaking for some time now. Our team has made the decision to allow that to keep leaking until we can have a sound apparatus backup plan, functioning like it should. And I feel like next week, if everything goes well, we'll be able to release that truck. Shouldn't be down for about a week and a half when it gets rebuilt and comes back. The cost of that repair on engine 4 is roughly around $6,500. And it's all budgeted in our maintenance repair line item. We're hoping that, it pushes us through to the next budget season. On a department update, we do have 3 openings right now, unfortunately. But on the good side, we have already completed 1 day of interviews. We have another one next week, Monday, set up, and we're possibly building a 3rd day. So we've had quite a few applications, and we've had some great applicants put in for that job. So we're excited for that. The next update is our toy drive. The applications are active right now. Those will run through roughly December 16th, and those are December 10th, excuse me. And how you sign up for that is you can go to thefederalrotary.com. You'll look for the little Santa Claus picture, and it'll say apply here. and it'll take you to a website where you can fill out all your information and apply for the toy drive. This is our 59th year. It is always dear to our heart at the fire department for the toy drive, and we're thankful for all the businesses around the city that help participate and help this make it happen. FPU is a big sponsor of that with driving our trucks around. You might think it's a very small thing, but it's huge to us because without them, we'd be stuck at the station. Our first buy night is going to be November 18th at Dollar General. Our second buy night is December the 2nd at Walmart. And our third and final one is December 16th back at Dollar General. Anybody wants to help out, those start at 6 o'clock. All you had to do is show up and say, hey, I'm here to help with the toy drive. We will show you the process and tell you how to do that, and you shop for the kids. You don't have to pay for it. The Toy Drive Foundation pays for the bill of that. It's just you helping us shop for the kids.
Will you give the location of the Dollar General
Yes, it is the one behind McDonald's on Huntsville Highway, the Dollar General Market.
market?
Just repeat those dates one more time.
Yes,
please.
ma'am. The first one is November the 18th, and that's at Dollar General.
Okay,
The second one is December the 2nd at Walmart. And the third and final one is December 16th back at Dollar General.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Those start at 6 o'clock. Everything else is running pretty smooth with our 3 openings we have. Overtime's a little hectic right now. The guys are really buckling down and helping cover those void spots. Unfortunately, we had one opening already due to promotions. We've had another one. I had some family problems and the schedule didn't work out for him. And the third one had an opportunity to make quite a bit of more money, and he said he couldn't pass that up. So, and I understand and respect it. We thanked them for their time with us, and hated for them to leave. But we're gonna move forward and find some new souls to learn and educate and protect. And that is my report. We don't have any more questions.
How has the inspections of food trucks been? How many have you had? Is the process going smoothly or?
It's going smooth, but I do see ourselves wasting valuable time. So we're gonna reevaluate it first year and might do a scheduling thing. We've changed the times from 8 to 10:30, but we're still pretty much just standing around waiting to see if anybody shows up.
Yeah.
So we might change it at the first year to a scheduled basis so we can really use our time wisely.
Yeah.
Cause if you tell them you're gonna be there from 10 o'clock, you gotta stay there and wait till 10 o'clock. But it's going smoothly, I will tell you. And, I do wanna, make sure everybody understands that, the fire codes are not new for food trucks. They're 2018 fire codes, and that's what we're enforcing until we go to the new codes.
Okay.
So it's going fairly well.
Good to know that there's some flexibility. I don't want us to be too rigid on it, that we
I
can't
don't.
adapt and
Yeah.
make sure it's comfortable.
I don't either. Any more questions?
I'd like just to comment to Davey, and this really goes citywide, but I know Davey just lost a good employee. But, I think that's a credit to our department heads that you have other towns and counties coming into Fayetteville and poaching our people. So that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they are.
So that's a credit to our department heads and our employees.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we'll move to Parks and Rec with Director Browning.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor. First up, just information about our Monster Mash Bash that we had back in October. We doubled our number of participants from the year before. We had 1,200, and then we estimated around 2,100 came through. And with that being said, it couldn't have been done without the municipal staff here, the police department, fire department, and all of our departments really just made that event happen. Night Terrors is a new business. It's coming to Fayetteville. We're trying to find a place here. They came out and placed about $25,000 worth of Halloween equipment, kind of brighten the environment a little bit. So many thanks to them as well for their participation, and as well as the businesses of Fayetteville. They really showed out this year, and we appreciate them being involved in that. We moved straight from Monster Mash Bash from Halloween on the 25th, and 26th we started on Christmas. So right now, the guys are working hard getting the lights up at Stonebridge Park. We should be finished with all of our string lighting by lunch, and we'll start on our larger pieces of lighting and equipment after lunch. Hopefully have that completed by tomorrow. That is the plan with that. Registration for the parade is underway. We're asking everyone to get your registration in by November 21st at 4 o'clock. On the 22nd, we'll begin placing people in order for our December 6th parade, which will start at 5. And of course, the rain out date, if the 6th happens to be a wash, we will move it to the 7th at 5 o'clock as well. The night before is December the 5th, beginning at 5:30, we will have the bright lights and festive nights at Stonebridge Park. We already have a couple of trees donated in memory of someone, so that is an opportunity as well. And at 5:30, we'll begin that, and at 6, we will light the trees in the park. A lot of thanks to Jonathan, our IT director. He's been working diligently out there. He helped us out with the speakers for the Halloween Mash Bash, the Monster Mash Bash for Halloween, as well as the soundtrack, getting the lights to dance with the music like it did last year. So a lot of appreciation to him. And any questions about Christmas? Moving on, number 3, our fireworks bid. We had 3 to put a bid in for our July 4th Independence Day celebration. I think you have all 3 on your tablets. And you can see the price differential goes from $25,000 all the way up to $32,000. At the bottom, I appreciate Miss Debbie getting this bid tabulation together. The grand total of shells is of course, is what you see up in the air. The $25,000 one, you get just over 1,000 shells. $32,000, you get 2,788. And with 31,500, you get 4,394 shells. And each one are at least 20 minutes, and they met all of the bid requirements. So we would like to ask for this, if possible, to move forward to whatever you want to say. Road you'd like to travel with that.
I would like to go with the one that was 31.5. Seems like a much bigger show for a little less money than what we've been doing.
The finale, as you can see, the totals, the finale is much larger. The total number of shells are much larger in each of the main body and throughout, so.
This Pyro Show's the one we've been using.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This Pyrotechnico, where are they from?
They are from, is it Clarksville?
They have one they're
They're
all over the
nationwide.
United States.
Okay.
They started in Italy in 1889 and then moved to the United States in 1912,
Yes.
I believe,
I
something
think
like
so.
that.
I have their card.
I think their main office is maybe in Ohio, or I can't really remember, but they have been around a long
The
time.
mail-in, I believe, came from Clarksville, if I'm not mistaken.
Was there a recommendation from the Parks Committee on, was it the Pyrotechnico,
The Pyrotechnico would be our opinion to be the best show for the best price. Yes, sir.
well, your budget was 30?
I think it was 33.
Okay.
And I think that's coming out of tourism, if I'm not mistaken.
Will this need to be voted on, Loretta, if it's in the budget, so
It's in the budget, but we need to approve the bid.
to approve the bid? Okay, so we'll move that to Tuesday night. Any other discussions, if the committee is preventing Pyrotechnico, but we'll just go to Tuesday night and then approve it, whichever one we decide. Okay, thank you, Nancy.
Item number 4, just wanted to mention some improvements that we've been able to either working on now or we'll have completed in a short amount of time. At this time, we're working on the gun range. Public Works has helped us out move some dirt from Don Davidson that was pulled up from the paving a couple of years ago, moving it over to the gun range to create a bigger berm for the long range. We're having that 2 poles installed with some more targets up there. It's very active up there. We're very fortunate to have that in our Parks and Recreation Department. But that will make a massive improvement, and it's actually in our improvement budget. So we'll be working on that as well. We replaced the lattice at Stonebridge Stage. I think it had needed some updates, so the guys were able to save us some money and take care of that and got it ready for our Halloween event. One of the probably more frequent calls we have are duck feeders at the duck park. So we found some money in our improvements budget to replace the duck feeders that did not work to now some that do work, they're brand new. So I'm hoping the residents will be able to enjoy that as early as today. And also, I want to thank FPU. They've helped us out lighting up the pickleball court in the back. It is, I would say, night and day, but that'd be too obvious of a pun. But it's very bright back there now. I think Abby posted something on her Facebook page. And now it's open, and hopefully enjoy the last few days of at least warmer weather we have.
You can play pickleball all through the year.
Well, it's there. So we appreciate that effort. As far as important dates, we had bingo Monday, and we had a record turnout. We had the most we've ever had, and they were eager, and I think they're going to be even more excited for our December, which will be December 1st. So we may have to put some more tables out. So anyone who's 55 and older, come on out December 1st at 1 o'clock for some bingo.
On those prizes, you get donations or?
I will take donations. They're coming from our events budget line right now. So if anyone would like to donate, we will not turn those down.
Anything, I mean, because I've made some donations to the senior center and did their bingo for a while, and I mean, they appreciate anything, canned goods, snacks, coloring books, pencils, puzzle books, anything. So if anybody would like to donate and help Parks and Recs, that'd be great.
They really enjoy the festive season. We've had some fall decor and some Christmas decor for the past couple of months, and I think that's what has brought in the crowd a little bit. So Walmart has our local Walmart here, local businesses around town. If you would like to visit those establishments, and that sure would help the city as well as us out. And if there's any more questions, if not, that is my report.
Any questions before we move on?
Mayor, do we need to go back to the police? I don't think we did anything on the Christmas parade.
Yes, we will move that to Tuesday night. Okay, now going to planning and coach, Director Gentry.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Board. Our first two items, last month we had called and announced the public hearing. So this month, we will hold the public hearing, and all the process was completed. The property owner letters were sent out after the hearing was announced. It's on our website, it's posted here at the door, and it was also advertised in the El Valley Times. And we have records of all of that process. So to refresh your memory, the first one, after we held the public hearing in the regular business portion of your meeting, you will then be voting on rezoning by ordinance. So ordinance 2025-27 is the rezoning request for 521 Market Street West from R3 to C3. This is the property that's owned by Gallant Funeral Home, and the purpose of the request for rezoning is for a crematory to go at that location. This is an approved permitted use in C3, which is the reason for seeking the rezoning. And I do want to add that the crematory will be housed in a 1,200 square foot building, and it won't scream that that's what it is. We have had a couple of calls on that, and that's the number one question, because there is some residential houses in that area. A lady came in, we gave her the information, showed her the rendering of it, and it kind of eased her mind. We have received one call that asked the process for speaking, and we gave them that information. So I do foresee that at least one person is going to come and speak on this item. I did relay that it's not a question and answer session, just stating your opinion for or against the project. So we do feel like the information has been received in the residents in that area and businesses, because we sent it to the whole street, the letter in the packet with this information.
I did get, Christie, I did get one, text saying that he will be here to speak, so.
Yes.
We may have a couple, so.
And I do think Mr. Barry Brown is overseeing this project. He will also be in attendance and probably will speak kind of what they're wanting to do. They're just wanting to expand their business. Gallant's been in the community a very long time, and they just want to be able to offer this as another service. So they do own quite a bit of parcels around that, and all of their other property is already C3. So this would align with their business model and their other property. Are there any other questions on that one? Okay, number 2 would be ordinance 2025-28, and this is also a rezoning request for 406 Franklin Avenue South, also R3 to C3. This property, if you remember, already it has a grandfathered in commercial use. There was already a shop on it. Mr. Johnson just wants to be able to expand his business in the future. So when he turns it over to his son, he owns a lot of other adjacent property in this area that's already C3, but he wants this property to be correctly zoned and aligned so that he can expand in the future. We have not received any phone calls on this particular request, but the same process. It was also advertised, it's posted, listed online, and then the residents in that area also received the packet with his request.
Any questions?
Okay, item number 3, back in May, Ms. Jill did the TOSHA walkthrough with our representative, so I wanted her to speak on ordinance 2025-30, which will be updating our safety and health plan.
Okay. So this one is a little larger than the one we had prior to this, but this covers record keeping, any kind of incidences that happen at the workplace, how long they have to turn an injury in, the process that someone would have to go through to get that done. It covers educational and training, your safety equipment that you should be using. And honestly, there's a couple of pages in here that every department really needs to have posted at that department so their employees can read the safety requirements. But that's really all this entails. Who's over? We do have, now someone might have a question about this. We do have city administrator listed as the safety and health administrator, I guess, the overseer, but that is just so he can say who he wants to be over, just kind of like the food truck. It's got that he's over it, but he will dictate it to someone else. That will cover having to change names year after year if someone changes the job. Does anyone have any questions over this?
No, it's
It's pretty cut and dry.
It is.
Self-explanatory.
I'm glad we did expand it and cover more things because.
Yes. And what we
It
should
just
actually.
helps us in the future in the.
It does. It really does.
And I will add, our previous one was last adopted in 2018, so it was time to update it. And then this model came directly from TOSHA, so we're within their guidelines and what they require us to have.
Okay. We'll move that forward, all three of those when we choose.
Just quickly had a couple announcements for the department update. We do have a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting November the 12th at 9 a.m. It is to hear a variance request for 1002 College Street West. This will be to build a new single-family home. All setbacks can be met, but this is another one of those small lots that is a lot of record. It just doesn't meet the minimum lot size requirements for that district, the R2 district. So they just have to have an approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals before we can move forward with the construction of a new single-family home. So that's November the 12th at 9 a.m. This was also advertised in the Elk Valley Times, and it's on our website. So all of the protocol was completed for the process to have the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. And then lastly, we do have a vacancy in our department for the property maintenance inspector. The previous inspector's last day was at the end of last week, and then we immediately got the job posted on Monday. And so we are accepting applications. Haven't received any yet, but as soon as we do, we will begin doing the interview process. And that's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item F is the IT department. Jonathan.
Good morning, everyone. I did want to start out by saying we got those new iPads in and we're ready to set them up. I did want to go ahead and ask for permission to see if we can get those old ones reset and sold on Gov Deals and get that approved by you guys. And for updates, we got the new Fuel Master set up in Public Works. I was able to work with Ray Campbell, that's the gentleman from Fuel Master. We were able to set up and get it communicating with the fuel information monitoring system, which is our meter route, and everything's working fine. I asked Miss Anna yesterday, and everything should be up to date. I've also been speaking with C-Spire about switching our email management system over to theirs because their price is significantly better. That's still ongoing. I have a couple more meetings with them. I also spoke with C-Spire about adding a connection to the police department so our SRO officers can access their database a little bit better. Right now, the way they're doing it, they keep getting kicked out by other officers when they try to use the computer. So hopefully we can get that sorted out. I also helped Miss Monica and Dixie set up for recording the healthcare and benefits meeting that we had this past month. And that is all my updates. If you guys have any questions, I can take those now. All right, that should be everything. Thank you, guys.
Terry, can we move that forward to approve to sell?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, we have finance on the agenda, but could we move forward with the administration part? There's two items. We have guests here today, and just to move this forward a little quicker and get them out of here, is that okay with the board to move them forward? So we'll go to the administration part. This is the assessment of selling the land at 1803 Winchester Highway. This is where the water tower is placed, and we have to speak on this, and this is information only, is CEO Brenda, and also a geosurveyor.
Good morning again. Thank you, Mayor, for moving me up. I didn't have this important meeting with the contractors getting these roads straightened out. We're gonna work on it anyway. But, I'm just up here to give my concerns. I'm not up here to say that you shouldn't do it or you should do it. It's just concerns that we look at everything as far as contingency planning. We know there's risk with everything that we do. We also know there's consequences with everything that we do. I'm totally aware of all that. Nothing against Mr. Wright or Mr. Carter or anybody like that. We've been friends for a long time. But, concerns are to protect FPU in the city of Fayetteville, which owns FPU. The industrial park tank is a 500,000 gallon concrete ground level storage tank that was built in 1977. 48 years old. Tanks have an estimated life of 60 years unless you find something that comes up on your every 5-year inspection. The last inspection was done on July 20th, 2021. Next inspection is due July of 26. The tank is filled by the pump station. If you go out Winchester Highway, right there beside that Rockies, is filled by a pump station at a rate of 1,150 gallons per minute for about 3.5 hours each time, based on where the level of the water is inside the tank. We operate the tank at 11 feet, so that means when it gets down 11 feet, the pumps kick on, gets the water level back up to about 16 feet. Also, a lot of that takes around 7 hours before filling, depending on how Frito-Lay is using the water. They're the biggest water supply user out there in that area. You got better than 500 customers that's on this area. It also feeds the only area that supplies water to the county at Belleville and Mulberry as well. So then when we look at the worst case scenario here, and I don't know if fire chief can comment or not on what's required for fire protection when it comes to cooking potatoes and all that kind of stuff. I know it's very, very strict that you've got to have certain pressures. They got booster pumps out there for fire protection. Same thing at CNS Plastics. The tank serves Frito-Lay, which you're talking about better than 1,000 jobs. Now you're talking about over 2,800 jobs of industry out there if they can't operate. Now, for FPU, that means that's over $600,000 a month in revenue if they're not operating. Now, I don't know how to fix your taxes, but I know how to fix revenue, and if you don't have revenue coming in of a size factory like that, just like when Goodman left or Amana left, we were prepared for that to happen, so we budgeted each year for 3 years until Goodman ended up leaving. But if you have this drastic change, it's not going to just affect Frito-Lay, FPU. This is every ratepayer, because you've got to recover all that cost. So, if we lose the tank, a 12-inch main runs from the pump station up the highway to an isolation valve that's around 1,275 feet from the Winchester Highway up to the water tank. If the tank is damaged, it's a strong possibility that the isolation valve at the tank will be damaged as well with the infrastructure. So that means if we cannot cut that valve, we got to go back down to the highway and we got to join the two lines together to make everything operate the best that we could off the existing pumping station. So when you're heading up to the tank, and then once you make the tie, you got to go back and see if we're meeting the requirements that Frito-Lay requires for the pressure and the flow. So then what we need to be done is for long term, right? If you let the water flow through the pump station, good chance we would have to cut the county supply to Mulberry off. That's 180, 200 gallons per minute. You'd have to find another location for another tank because you're not going to go back up there and build a tank if it's damaged. So then you're 1 and 1.5 years out for a new water tank to be constructed. You're at $2.5 million for another water tank. Other issues that I would like for you to consider. Has anyone discussed this matter with Frito-Lay to determine how they could be affected in the other industries? The line to the tank could be damaged by ground movement. What is the emergency response plan? Because if that tank ruptures, you got 500,000 gallons of water coming down that hill. Has the pre-blast structural survey been completed? Are there any existing fractures or weak points in the bedrock? Are there any established vibration limits of what could happen? Because you all know anytime you have a blast, you have some vibration. To what extent, I don't know. I know that Mr. Tommy and Mr. Carter's got the, I think Mr. Reed, somebody here today speak on that as well. And that's what his expertise is. It's not mine. I'm just telling you what our concerns are from the water tank if it were to happen. So that way I can say, I informed you, you know about the concerns, and that's really all I have to say, unless you got questions of me.
Yeah, I got a question. Sorry, you threw a lot at us. So I was trying to write down all the things at once. Okay, so go back to the potential of joining the two lines at the base of the tank to bypass the tank if something happens.
Right.
And the impact would be, we would have to cut back water supply to the county,
Yes.
but it would, the flow rates would, we could maintain the city's need, or are we also saying that even with joining those, we don't know if Frito-Lay would, if it would help or keep Frito-Lay at the current?
That's correct. See, because the way that the pump stations run, they cut on and off at certain times of when the water tank level or the uses of the water past that tank requires it. So if you have to go out there and join the two lines together, which is the same line, it just goes up to the tank, same line comes down the hill, right there at the bottom of the hill on Winchester Highway. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to join that line solid because it's valve operated. So we will not be able to run the pumps 24/7. Because then you've got a high pressure flow off the pumps at the gallons per minute that's rated. So we're not gonna be able to do that. You know,
Yeah.
short term, if something had to be fixed, but replacement, we can't run it that long. But I don't, again, know, and like I said, fire chief might be able to comment on what their requirements are as far as fire protection for Frito-Lay. I know it's pretty strict. I know CNS's is pretty strict because they have to have the sprinklers and all that kind of stuff, but it's just something to think of. And I'm not gonna tell you that it is gonna happen, but I can't tell you it's not gonna happen. I'm just telling you our concerns, which is city's concerns, because you got some of your biggest employers out there.
Yeah, and then on the emergency response plan, I would assume this could be a wrong assumption, that there's some type of emergency response plan within FPU about, say a tornado or earthquake takes out the tank. Do you guys have a response plan for what would happen in that aspect, or how do we as the city respond if that were to happen?
Well, what we do is anytime you have a response plan, we try to look at the worst case scenario. That's what I'm giving you today, okay? So if the tank were to rupture, if it was, like if lightning hit or something that ruptured, you know, we could try to do the best we can to get something else in here. But you're limited to what you can do. But at the same time, when it's beyond your control, I can handle that a lot better than I can handle things when it is in your control. Consequences, right? But strategically, long-term, we hope that the park grows enough where you can build another tank. That's what we did on Reservoir Hill. Up there, we ended up replacing all those tanks up there. So that's the reason we surveyed the property of building another tank. But I think I understand that the section of where we were looking at wanting to build another tank, it wasn't a good idea for Mr. Wright's proposal, I don't think. I might be outspoken there.
Okay, yeah, that's another question, but before we get there, so do we have knobs to turn internally to FPU, say that there is an emergency that happens, say, take this off the table. There is a plan if there was a natural disaster on how to, if the tank is damaged somehow, there is a plan currently to put that back to service at some capacity.
That is correct.
Okay.
Because the first thing we'd have to do is that we'd have to cut the county off.
Okay, I wanna know what the knobs are that we
Yes.
can turn to, like, what are we decreasing our service to, and can we still fulfill what the city needs?
That'd be correct. Same thing we went through during the cold weather spell. You remember this past year when we had the rolling outages. We also had a lot of water leaks in the town. We had to throttle back Petersburg because we didn't have enough water that we could feed because they had so many leaks. We had to throttle back the county and all that kind of stuff to be sure that the city was taken care of as far as supplying water. That's correct.
And then you brought up the expansion of a potential tank. Is that detailed in like a 20-year plan or something that, do you have what that would be spec'd out, how far from the current one, and is there a potential other piece of property that you could use, put a tank besides this one?
The only part that we put out strategically was another section up there beside the existing tank.
Okay.
Because that's what we try to do, because the infrastructure's there, right? You don't have to go back somewhere else and build all the infrastructure to a new water tank. It would be easy just to move off of what you've got and tie into the new tank.
Okay. And do we have that outline of what that would be? I don't know that I've seen that. Do you know how far from the current tank would that proposed other tank be?
Yes, sir, and Mr. Carter and him's got all the diagrams, we sent it, cause we plotted it all out and surveyed it with the property and all that as well.
Okay, I'll ask for that, thank you. I think that's all the questions I have.
Any other questions? Mr. Dye, you did mention that the life of the tank is 60 years. The tank is currently 48.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
in a 12-year, you have plans at some point in there. At the end of its life, would you immediately build another tank, or would you have plans?
It depends on where all the inspections come in.
Okay.
If the inspections like in July 26 comes in and it says, you know, you got all this happening, and it's time to look at replacing the tank, at least we got time to do something with it. But if everything keeps inspecting, and everything's good, the future plan is further out than immediate plan, I guess you can say. But, we try to do that as well, but you all know that, right now, we got a $30 million water project going on. And that's investing a lot inside the city, only inside the city. And, you know, when you're talking about the money to replace the old infrastructure, which I've sent y'all pictures, you've got all that information, what we're dealing with out here, what needs to be replaced. And if you had more expense, we'd have to go see if we can get more free money to a certain degree, which is not a lot of free money. But, you know, it hurts everybody. But future plans, absolutely.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Dye.
And I might have to leave before Tommy and them get through, because I got that other meeting, but
Okay.
I'll stay as long as I can.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and then for the geo survey, I think there were some questions on that. Would someone else speak on that? If you will state your name for the record, please.
My name's Greg Harris. I'm a professional geologist. I've been practicing a little over 40 years. Portion of that was with Exxon Research Lab dealing with vibration, and then construction blasting, my goodness, better part of over 25 years. We did a geotechnical study with a ground penetrating radar up at the water tank, just to see if there was any potential voids or sinkholes in and around the tank. And after post-processing the data, we found nothing. I mean, it was actually, some of the rock is exposed at the surface. You can see it scattered around. So it's a pretty good solid foundation up there, even for a second tank, if they want to build one up there. Now, the concern about the blasting vibration, the borrow pit that's approximately 600 feet away right now, I think it's been in operation off and on for about 15 years, taking rock out of there. And we've got seismographs up near the tank, and another one in a building down at the nearest structure back out at the road. At the levels that we're getting up there now, and the state level is 2.0 inches per second. That deals with the velocity, how fast it's moving through the ground. The levels that we're getting up there now at 600 feet at 35 pounds per delay, meaning each hole has 35 pounds of explosives in it. It's been in the neighborhood of about 0.3, pretty low. The stress on this building here from a 30-mile-an-hour wind would probably be a little bit higher than that. I've done projects around probably close to 36 water tanks, and a good portion of them are built like this tank here. Currently, I have 2 projects with 2 water tanks that are built like this, and one is very close to the same age. And the pounds per delay that they were shooting within 100 feet was about 60 pounds per delay, and there's no signs of issues with the tank. The vibration levels were well underneath the state level, and so the condition of the tank, the vertical displacement to cause strain on any type of product like concrete or drywall or whatever you have to have a lot of vertical displacement. You feel the frequency, it shoots through the ground, that goes out, half a mile or better. You have to have a lot of bending strain to fatigue something, and it's not going to happen at a thousandth of an inch. Concrete, I've done a lot of work for the Tennessee Valley Authority, and they consider safe levels around all their concrete structures, the dam, outbuildings, and everything else, 20 inches per second. Perfectly fine for the concrete. It can be monitored, the vibration can be monitored. We have a standalone seismograph up there now, but we can put in place a remote seismograph that will instantly send out the readings by email to whoever is doing the blasting project to let them know what that vibration reading is. Also, on the tank itself, we can put crack gauges on some of the little hairline cracks, which are very normal. That can help monitor it as well. If any issues are going to manifest with that tank, the crack gauges will start showing it. So you'll have a heads up very quickly. Same way with the seismograph readings. The in-ground utilities, generally depending on the type of water line, if it's a slip joint, we've done blasting up to 50 feet from high pressure gas lines, water lines and everything, and no damage has ever taken place. Generally, when you do get water leaks on the slip joints, it's during the wintertime, the freezing and thawing of the ground, you'll get movement. But at a thousandth of an inch, you're not going to get any movement at all with that. But I've never seen damage, and I think the closest we've ever been to a concrete water tank is probably within about 50 feet, and it never damaged it. Concrete is a very highly resistant material, and the state level at 2.0 inches per second is a very conservative level. And you have like 2.0 inches per second, a 95% chance that nothing will occur. And that's starting with drywall first. Concrete is a very high resistant material, way above that. But everything can be monitored and reviewed through seismograph records and also crack gauges that you can tell if there's any issues that are going to manifest way before. Now, the distance where the rock quarry is located at 600 feet, I did extrapolation mathematically on the vibration within 300 feet from the water tank, using the same pounds per delay that they're using down there now, and it approached 50% of the state level, just under 1 inch of vibration. Explosives can be adjusted. It's very highly technical science, and you can adjust the explosives by decking within the column of rock and cut that down by half and even reduce the vibration even more. So things can be adjusted with the explosives to keep it well within a safe level where you won't have any issues with it at all. But I've never seen damage, and we've had crack gauges, digital gauges, stress gauges on tanks before, and nothing has actually occurred, even with blasting within 50 feet from a water tank. Any questions?
I have one. You mentioned, so the predicted vibrations from the study is 1 inch per second. You mentioned that you did mathematical extrapolation. Yeah. Did you use a factor of safety within that? Is the 1 inch per second what we think it is, or is there a factor of safety on that? Is it truly less than the 1 inch per second?
Well, reducing it mathematically and everything, which is by state law, there's a formula for that. The 1 inch per second, close to 1 inch per second, is still a safe level even for drywall. You won't even damage drywall. They could be out here in the middle of the street blasting and probably push it to 2 inches. You still won't see any issues with drywall. So that's even a very conservative level, very safe. And again, they can adjust depending on, on what they're trying to keep. You know, even if they wanted to make it lower, they can deck those charges or use the electronic system to even reduce it even more. So, I mean, there's a lot of flexibility in this.
Okay, and then just so I understand this report correctly.
Yeah.
So you predicted vibrations at 1 inch per second. The state safety limit for normal is 2 inches per second.
That's
That's drywall and normal houses.
Yeah.
The TVA's limit for concrete is 20 inches per second.
That's right.
So we're talking about 20 times, this is 20 times
Yes.
more than what will actually be seen at the water tower.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
Just want to make sure I understood that right. And then you mentioned that you've done other similar studies for water tanks. You said you've done 36 of those?
Yeah, at least that.
At least that, okay. And then, you mentioned some mitigation, potential mitigations that we could implement. So, strain gauges, you have the
Seismograph.
seismograph, which
Yeah.
would be on the ground, but like we could instrument the tank to make sure.
That's
that,
correct.
Could we potentially get a list of those?
Yeah.
That you could recommend some mitigations for us to
Yeah,
make sure
sure.
we're, and I know that Mr. Wright, I think, was already going to plan some of this, have a seismograph there potentially. But I think if there's some mitigations, we know that there's some additional steps we could take that could make it even less risky, then.
Yeah,
think
I
that would
can
be
send
helpful.
you, I can send you a list of that, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and, sorry to bring up Britt again, but, if there's mitigations that you would like to see, say this does go forward, I would also like to know what some of those mitigations potentially would be, if they differ maybe from these.
Anybody else?
And I think everybody would like to know too, just, might be more from Mr. Wright, if something were, a blast were to happen to the tank, what about as far as like insurance from your side if something were to happen?
I automatically carry a $5 umbrella on top of my insurance coverage for anything catastrophe like this. I will not be doing any of the blasting myself. I will rely on professionals. I will rely on Mr. Greg here to give me guidance on what to do and when to do it. He'll be the one directly looking at each blast to see what it is and see if we need to do any adjusting. So the blaster that I would hire would have insurance too. How much, I don't know, but anybody in this type of construction business usually has quite a bit. So the insurance coverage would be there. And the main thing is to have the professionals on board that do it every day. Have the good blasters like we got out there now, and have people like Mr. Greg watching over it. I know enough about it to be dangerous, but they're professionals, and that's what you got to rely on. Is the people that do it every day.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I've got one for Brett. I think this may help Joseph understand a little bit. Whenever one of these tanks are shut down for maintenance, because I remember climbing down in Reservoir Hill, and the one out there also, whenever they're taken offline for a day or two for cleaning or and inspections and whatever, the city has a plan. They bypass that water tank, but the water plant pumps out more water at that time to keep everything going. So if that tank were to go out, the city would still be fine. But like you said, the county and some of the outlying areas would probably be without. And then if we couldn't maintain that pressure, Frito-Lay would be at it. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir. And I can't sit there and say the city would be fine, it just depends on the other pumps that's in the pump station number one, of how much flow that we're pushing. Because we're
I know we're replacing infrastructure. Is our existing infrastructure, will it be able to handle that kind of water flow if we have a tank?
All the way up to the pumps, but the pumps are limited of what it pushes. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Okay, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Carter, Mr. Harrison, Mr. Wright, and Mr. Dye. This is a very important decision for this board, and y'all have given us a great amount of information, so we will carry this on further and let y'all know, okay? Thank you. You're welcome to leave, or you're welcome to stay for the finance portion of today. And we bored you enough, I'm sure.
Thank you for the information.
Okay, now, finalize with the finance department. Loretta Garner, Director, Finance.
Morning.
Good morning, Lauren.
First item is the Public Works, the truck, what we have included in the budget amendment is $48,270. That is the 44,000 and some change, state bid that, I think you have the copy of the, quote from Wilson, and they are on the state contract, plus $3,500 to, move the bed and for any other decals, et cetera, that they might have to install, to get those installed. And, I just wanted to know if you wanted to move that on to the purchase of that truck, onto the work session, and then we can include that in the budget amendment.
Okay, so that's included on this ordinance 2025-29. So is everyone okay with moving the truck forward? Okay.
Okay. The next item is the budget amendment. It's got 5 items included. One is the land survey for the Industrial Development Board property. The other is the Washington and Lincoln, the repairs we had to do for that. We first thought that was going to be $25,000. It actually came in at $23,820, and those two come from the bond fund. The next item was included the truck. The next item was the HVAC from the prior year for the municipal building. We had 24,000, excuse me, in our budget last year. We were not able to get that until the first part of this year. So we just transferring those funds over from last year to this year. So it was actually in last year's budget as well. And it went back to fund balance when we did not spend it. And the last item is the moving the sanitation. This is the budget amendment for something you've approved earlier, moving those funds from the refuse line item to the salary line item in the amount of $15,629. Have any questions or concerns?
And this is going to salaries for
the truck drivers, for the sanitation. Because we just couldn't get and I think last year we may have gone over budget, and our sanitation because of that. We ended up having to do a budget amendment right at the last minute.
You don't need to go over budget on that.
No.
Account.
Yeah.
That's an unknown.
So we don't want to do that, so we want to try to make sure we have enough there. And our preliminary estimates, of course, we won't know till the end, or more toward the end of the year, but preliminary estimates are that this would be enough to fund what we currently have. Like I said, if we have turnover, whatever, that may change.
Okay, Any other questions on the budget amendment?
I do have one question. The last page, the general fund, I see IDV planning surveys on here for 3,000.
Yes.
I didn't know, I knew we talked about it in committee, and we're gonna discuss it today. But, so did that go through finance? Has that been approved?
This is, just for survey, is all this is.
Well, it hadn't been approved, though,
It
is
hadn't
what
been
she's
approved
saying.
yet,
We
no.
hadn't voted to do that.
Yeah, it came through finance as a.
To move
comes
on to the,
here.
yeah,
To here.
right.
Okay,
It
so
would need to be
this will be
voted.
included in, this will be voted on Tuesday?
I see what you're saying, that might not need to be included if that's something we're voting on.
Yeah.
We can pull that out and do that later if that's what the board
Or are you
wishes.
saying maybe a separate ordinance to do it, or a separate vote?
Yeah, I thought it was set for discussion today,
Oh,
is what
I
I
see.
thought coming out of committee.
I mean, y'all know what's gonna happen, it's gonna be 3-2, not to move it without.
Right, yeah, the
someone
thing is,
missing
we're just
something.
gonna punt it to next month, and it's gonna,
Right.
There's gonna be other fees, in this land acquisition as well. Am I correct?
That I can't answer.
That'd have to be
No,
attorney
then we
fees,
just-
correct?
Yeah,
Don?
attorney fees, aren't they gonna be added as well at some point?
As far as just handling, the deed work from IDB to us, I should be able to handle that. I mean, there'd be recording fees at the courthouse, but I won't be making a charge for my time.
The survey was one of the conditions to get the land.
Right.
That has to
What
go,
was that, the survey what?
It was one of the conditions that the IDB
Yeah, I
board
understand.
required.
Yeah, I was just confused because it was like included in here but
Right.
I thought it was coming from the committee for discussion. Yeah.
So do we want to discuss the $3,000 and going ahead with the survey? Do we want to make it separate?
Well, everybody knows where I stand on it, so I mean, that's up to y'all if y'all want to discuss it.
yeah, I think we all know how it's gonna turn out.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I
just
mean,
let
I'm
me
not
know.
for moving it forward either, so it's, I'd say you better break it out of that. If we want to vote on this ordinance with everything else, I would take that 3,000 out.
Okay,
So you propose to have two separate?
I don't even want to move it to work to,
I don't
to the
either.
main meeting, so
Okay.
I'm for not moving it forward, the 3,000.
Got two, Dorothy?
Oh, yeah, you know where I stand.
No,
I'm not for it.
okay,
so take it out.
take that out.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're just delaying the inevitable, though. so,
Right, yeah.
Just so the public knows.
Yes.
Are we gonna do two separate ordinances or just remove that one? from
We're
the-
just gonna remove the
Have both.
3,000 out of this amendment
Okay.
And not move it forward.
and not move it
No.
forward.
Okay.
Okay. That we can do. Okay. But you want to move the rest of the items on forward, correct?
Everything but the 3,000.
Everything but the 3,000, okay. Got that. The next item is the appraisal for the property that I think had just been discussed. And that appraisal, we did get a cost, an independent appraisal independently of the ones that Mr. Wright received, and that would be a cost of $600. Want to move that forward, or?
So the city would pay the appraisal, would have to pay the appraisal fee for
Well,
this.
if they got an additional appraisal. I think Mr. Wright got, what, three appraisals? Three appraisals? But this would be somebody else, different than any of the ones that he got.
Are we requiring an additional appraisal, or?
Well, that would be a question for the board.
Okay,
I think Mr. Owens was concerned for the city's benefit, another appraisal. If I'm not
Johnny, how
mistaken.
do you
That's how I
see
understood
that?
it.
If he's provided
understood.
3 appraisals,
I don't know of anything that requires an additional appraisal. I know there's been some discussion about whether the other appraisals were.
enough, that's my
Right.
understanding of it. So the city was asking for one for the city's benefit. That's what I understood Mr. Owens to say at the last meeting.
so what says the board? Do y'all want to pay the 600?
Well, I think first we have to say if we're for it, there's no need getting an appraisal if we're not gonna do it. I mean,
Right.
I'm for the sale, but I don't know, I think everybody needs to say how we want to go, or, because there's no need to vote for an appraisal if we're not going to do it.
And we had that discussion too, I believe, in finance, that, you know, if we're not gonna go forward with it, there's no sense in spending $600 for appraisal. So,
Something, excuse me, something that hadn't been mentioned was the steps and levels that we were talking about. There's a lot of, if I'm not mistaken, zoning issues that have to be settled on this property as well, and the zoning and the land use with that zoning that haven't been, taken care of.
not on the sale of the property, we can sell it, it's up to the buyer to, he would have to get it rezoned. That's what I'm understanding.
And what we spoke on in finance is we would give him the opportunity to have that done. If it was voted down, then we wouldn't make him pay that cost, because he's buying it for a reason. If he can't get it through those channels for that reason, we would not hold him to that money, is what we discussed in
Okay, but I
finance.
didn't have that information.
Right. We were just
Yes.
thinking of voting for the sale of the property is what we spoke about.
Yeah, I think the vote that we take on Tuesday is, does the board agree to sell the land?
I agree.
Not I think the appraisal part is a separate, if we agree to sell the land, there's gonna have to be a vote on, do we pay for an appraisal to sell the land? So I think we have to agree that we'll sell it before we go down all the.
Right.
Right.
So you wanna postpone this till next month?
Well, I think that,
We
we need a vote
Vote.
on if we're going to
Okay.
sell.
Right.
And I agree with Jeff, I mean, I'm in favor of selling.
So we'll move this forward to Tuesday night to approve, to sell the property. If it is voted to, if it's approved to sell the property, then at that time, we would have to vote for the $600 appraisal, or at some other time. And then Mr. Wright would also have the opportunity to see about getting the property rezoned to what he needs it for, the industry, that, I believe it was a I-3 or I-2 it needed to go to. If that cannot happen or does not happen, he's not required to buy the property at that time. That's my understanding of the process. Does anyone else have anything different from that?
Does it need to be approved to sell or intent to sell, or how do I need to word
I
that
think we said
legally?
Intent.
Right. I think it sounds
Intent.
probably better, yeah.
Because there's no sense of either party spending money if there's not an intent to sell. There's no need of either party spending money if he can't get it approved for the purchase that he wants to buy the property. So there has to be steps. So that's what our vote will be on Tuesday night, the intent to sell.
And Dorothy, also just what is gonna be the cutout of the exact property too will be negotiated after we decide if it's intent to sell or not. So a lot of moving parts in this one.
Yeah.
Because we'll have to kind of carve out the center of the property that encompasses the water tower and the road to the water tower. So it would be part of the land around, and I'm not sure that Mr. Wright wants to buy everything there, just a
I
portion.
don't know either.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know.
that will be determined also at a later time. Everybody clear on that and what we're voting on?
So you're just voting on if you're gonna have the intent to sell, but holding off on the appraisal? Okay, gotcha.
Because we don't need to appraise it if we.
Right, if we're not gonna sell it.
It
The next-
looks like he had 3 done, one by J. Paul Richardson, one by Walter Patrick, and one by Joe Smith.
Which Joe's the really only certified appraiser, the other 2 are more real estate agents that are giving an opinion on that.
Next item I have is, we had a CD that, we just received the renewal notice on. It matures this month at the Bank of Lincoln County. This is a CD in the amount of $220,000, and some change. And, I did, ask for, emails and got, 5 different responses. One was that, one is that a response of no bid, because they're not allowed to, credit unions it turned out to be a credit union, and it's not allowed, they're not allowed to have deposits from municipalities. The highest bid we received was from, leaving it at Bank of Lincoln County at 3.6%. And I think you have a copy of all the amounts that we received.
You sent that information when?
I didn't get this information until yesterday, and I had already
Yeah.
uploaded everything.
This
Y'all
one.
might could refresh and see it.
Yeah, it's coming
You've
up.
got it, yeah.
It's right there.
Refresh.
I see it here. She said she sent emails.
I sent emails to the banks,
To the vendors.
to the vendors.
Gotcha, I misunderstood.
This is just a summary of whatever, of the responses I've received back.
Okay.
I'm good with taking that highest bid.
So we'll move this to Tuesday night for a bid, and the vote on the.
Item number 5 is, the, fiscal year 25 audit. It has begun. We did have a representative from the audit firm here last week. I think that most of the work, since they are, located in Murfreesboro, I think, and I think he actually lives in Chapel Hill, if I'm not mistaken. Most of the work will be done by, off-site. There'll be, we have uploaded quite a bit of information already, and I think he said he might come back a time or two, but most of their work will be done, virtually, and they do have access to be able to look at our system and, look at the reports and pull reports and that kind of thing. The finance update for this month, the local option sales tax was $332,753. That's a 0.5% increase. The state share sales tax was $77,819, and that is an increase of 2.4% over this time last year. And the occupancy tax was $15,475. That is a 4.7% decrease over this time last year. And again, that's one that we have been concerned about and have been watching, because that does fund our tourism dollars. And anybody else have any questions?
Any questions for Loretta?
That is uploaded, and that report that she gave is the very last page. The cash, and then the revenue and the expenditures are the first few pages.
And if you have any questions on those, or if you want printouts, let me know. One thing to note on those revenue line items, if it's got a negative, that means that we've actually received more revenue in than we had budgeted. So if you see a bracket on the revenue side, and on that report, that's a good thing, because we're better off than what we thought we were.
All right, thank you, Ms. Loretta. And last but not least, we have our city administrator's report from Director Browning, and you will hear that at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Owens had just a couple of things here noted. He wanted to make sure that everyone knew the employee Christmas as well as the employee awards will be held December the 12th at the rec center around lunch. Also, he made a note here to the garbage pickup date. Did Director Williams have anything as far as a pickup date for the Veterans Day?
He did not let me know anything, but I can text him really quick if y'all like for me to and find out.
In the past, I think he's just moved Tuesday's
To
pickup to
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
usually.
But that'd probably
If we
be
could have that
confirmation.
information for Tuesday night.
Okay.
Wednesday, I keep saying Tuesday.
That's right, yeah.
And I was gonna make that announcement, to remind everybody that the board meeting is on Wednesday night next week due to the holiday.
Mr. Owens also mentioned he has done a thorough assessment of all the city buildings' maintenance needs, both immediate as well as some long-term. He has begun annual employee evaluation. He's gonna run that through the month of November, and pretty much gonna go alphabetical order through that process. And as also finally, planning for strategic planning has begun. And that is the administrator's report.
Okay, if not anything else from any board member?
Let me look on the Public Works, I think it's on their page, their Facebook page.
I have a question about appraisals. Does the board give reviews to Kevin yearly? Does that usually happen, or?
Normally you do that, and you would do it close to or near the, we could do it during strategic planning, or you could do it like.
I didn't know if it was normal that it happened at a yearly.
Seemed like it was yearly, wasn't it? Because at one point we were doing it at two, but that was different conditions, but I think it's once a year is what we.
So if the board wants to, we can include that like right before strategic planning,
That
right
sounds
after, or
good.
near, around that, so.
Yeah.
I think we've done maybe the city attorney and also the judge at some point. No?
Don't think so.
Okay, all right, so.
We
Did
started.
he see on the ad? Somewhere I've seen that report, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe not.
Don't
So-
make eye contact,
No,
we'll
we have
review
not.
you.
It's under
Yeah,
city
we had that,
administration, actually.
So on garbage routes,
Do him too.
Monday's route will run regular, Tuesday's route will run on Wednesday, Wednesdays on Thursdays, and Thursdays on Friday. So, thank you, Mr. Chief, for letting me know.
Okay, if nothing else, then, this meeting is adjourned. See you Tuesday, Wednesday night.